Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Save or Dice. We've got everyone back of us here today for yet another episode. Congratulations to England for winning the World Cup. Football is indeed coming home, and it's a great day for us all here in England. So, great job, guys. And I can't wait to
Soccer
see
for
guys.
you Americans.
Yes, for you.
Well, we've got to start calling it football now.
Now it's
and
come
we're
home.
gonna have to completely redo the NFL.
Yeah, it's
Completely redo it.
it's going to change things up for sure.
I know-
Super proud for those
I know,
boys.
yeah. I am going to know where I was at this moment for the rest of my life.
Yep, and you guys will know too because you're watching Save or Dice, the day that England won the World Cup 2018. So
I
let's
think
go
we
around.
should rejoin England.
Yeah, I honestly, I think this calls for a serious conversation about that. But we have
Back, please.
we have Dave from Nerdarchy with us today. Dave, perhaps one of the staunchest defenders of the England football team there is. Obviously, we have Jonathan Pruitt, who's watched every single game that England has ever played.
Yes. Yeah,
Well,
twice.
2 times. And
That
then,
one time they beat France 3-1, riveting.
Yep. And then we also have Jim Davis from WebDM as well, who, in fact, fun fact, was once the England goalie. And it was a pretty intense game. So if you go back and look close enough, you'll see Jim Davis in goal.
Look close.
He's the only reason they beat France 3-1.
That's
And it all started at a young age when I joined the YMCA football team. And they were like, well, if you be a goalie, you don't have to run around so much. And I'm like, that's fine. I would rather play on that dirt pile, but I'll stand here and be goalie. That's how you make it to the World Cup.
Yep. That's that kind of mentality that we, the English, have. So, well, we also have obviously, before I hand over to our dazzling deviant in CODY Lewis from Taking 20, we have some sponsors, some all-English sponsors, especially here for this special World Cup episode. Dave, Ryan, do you want to talk us through our sponsors for today?
I would love to. Of course, always our virtual tabletop of choice, Fantasy Grounds. You can see us playing on it. Then Dungeon Painter Studio is there as well. All the wonderful maps that CODY is making and Jim Davis has made. And all of our DMs before them have made.
Will Jones.
I was trying to remember if Andrew made any maps or not, but he was a player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like in all the other ones.
Look, there's some guys. They made some maps.
I'm calling off the England-America reunification. It's off. It's over.
It's off. It's off.
Dave, we don't have to take Dave.
And then we have a new sponsor with a contest that we just launched today for them. We're giving away from Norse Foundry up to, or I believe it's actually just 7 sets of metal dice. Your game master plus all the players get a set of dice. Unless you have a really, really big group, then you're screwed. You can figure out who you like and don't like. But 7 sets of metal dice are like $35 a pop. It's like almost $250 worth of dice. Like, you can play this game with it. You can use them as sling bullets and you won't run out for a long time. You can beat your neighbors next door that are fighting and won't give you alone with them. These things are nice. You know, I just came back from D&D in the castle, and they were also the sponsors over there. You know, these are the metal dice. I got some of my own that I brought back with me from France. You know, I almost got arrested in France, but I did not, and I made it back with these dice. We also have these awesome gemstone dice.
On an unrelated note, I
Look,
almost got
agate
arrested.
dice here, right? And they got accessories and coins and stuff too.
I just absolutely love how dangerously Dave lives his life. Just like everything's a weapon to be used. Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
much respect.
Yeah. All right.
That's why I have an armored bodyguard at all times.
And why he's never been charged. They never press charges. But of course, we have our dazzling deviant CODY Lewis with us tonight at our Dungeon Master. CODY, take us away in tonight's episode.
Before we jump into this, I do want to say that is 7 full sets of metal dice from Norse Foundry. So you and all your group, I would recommend you reach out to them and tell them, hey, enter into this contest. I'm just saying.
Oh, also there's the link as well that gives a 10% off. So if you guys don't want to take your chances and just want to buy the set of dice you want, you can go over there and get a discount. Link in the description, hopefully.
Perfect. All right, gentlemen, when we last left off with Saber Dice, the party had dealt with a devastating blow, a loss of the Roscoe 3-stone keeper, who we're not naming any names, but met a very unfortunate end in a tragic way. Wasn't aided by any of the other party members at all. Gave his life in pursuit of destroying this evil spreading across the land, across Esselis. But thankfully, the party was soon joined by a couple of familiar faces. Tyler Barnaskis, the gentleman from Dawn Cross, who has been aiding the party through their epic journey here, had managed to meet up with Roscoe 3-stone, the barbarian, in Golden Leaf and track the party to Sela Sisi, joining them just in time to finish out the evil temple and destroy the portal, opening up the Shadow Veil into the mortal plane. But not all was well. The party, on their return trip, soon found themselves betrayed by Tyler Parnassus. The sword Sensover taken as he fled from the group. The group pressed on and made their way back to the mortal plane, where they were greeted by a familiar yet disturbingly disfigured face of Rafalien, the elvish wizard who was left in Maznagrax, and a new face, a small halfling that appeared to not completely be present on the mortal plane. The party was asked about the sword, and this newcomer was distraught, asking about the Harbinger, the one that would bring the Shadow King's return to the land. Realizing the sword had already been taken and fallen into the hands of the Harbinger, now known to the party, Tyler Barnaskis, Rafalien then transported the group to the Temple of the Blue Rose, where the party was met with a gruesome scene of the Keeper's beloved temple ransacked, destroyed, lives lost and slain where they stood, and the scabbard of Lawbringer missing. And that is where we will pick up. You gentlemen have just arrived to find the scabbard missing. What do you do?
Oh my god, that's a missing scabbard! Right there.
That dirty, rotten, lowdown, no good son of a
Now,
goat slurper.
now, how do we know that there's a scabbard even there in the first place? What I'm wondering.
That's
We
a
sure?
good point. I don't remember.
If it's missing, how do we know? We didn't see it.
Well, Roscoe did return it. Not you, Roscoe, other Roscoe.
Other Roscoe.
Oh,
We saw the map. We saw the map we have the map that came from the scabbard.
Indeed, this is troubling if it is already in the Harbinger's hands.
Yeah, I mean, the only good thing is looked like where all the black ickiness was going was away from where we're from, the halflings.
You look over to see this new halfling, and he is walking along sullenly, taking in the temple, almost as if for the first time in many years. It's very apparent that he is rubbing his hands along the stone walls and touching them almost with a familiarity, but kind of just taken aback by the scene in front of him.
Kind of look over him and look at my companions. You know, if this is what Roscoe had to look forward to, I'm kind of glad he didn't make it all the way to the end here.
Yeah,
He doesn't look very happy at all.
he sure doesn't.
He would have been very disappointed.
Between you and me, cuz it never sat right with me that Roscoe just wanted to tell other people what to do.
that's what I'm saying.
See, I knew Roscoe would understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Roscoe. He's my cuz, but
It was the job. I mean, it just made him judgy.
We sure did. You know, when you got him away from it and got a few of them in him, then he's just like a normal folk.
Well, a regular halfling.
Sure.
Do you ever get all melancholy when you get too drunk? That happened when we were younger once.
Sometimes.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he got me on a spot of trouble now and then, so you know, I don't hate him for it. It just, you know.
Wait, he bailed you out?
Oh yeah.
That son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, he even kind of went with the whole Doris thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. Have we, Roscoe, to tell you about Doris?
You mean that woman that y'all Gregored?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you told me about that.
I
Yeah.
remember this now.
What are these? What is the other halfling doing?
So the halfling is kind of going along and examining the bodies of the fallen former keeper order, and he makes his way over to the temple. He kind of places his hands both on the altar, but again, he's not actually present here as a physical manifestation. I had hoped that they would be enough, but I was mistaken to place trust in them. It was too long ago.
Well, we're gonna have to go and get him back then, aren't we?
How many bodies are there? How many of the keepers went down?
That's a lot of
I
them,
would say scattered throughout this area in front of you is probably at least 3 dozen, and you're in a small area of the temple, so probably the full 60 or 70 keepers that were here have been slain.
It's only counting up to 7.
Not all of them are in, prime condition. Some of them are much older, some of them are young and in training, but there's probably about 60, 70 keepers in total in front of you. You guys can kind of see in this last room. It almost looks like they held a defense here with the way that they're kind of gathered about near the altar.
That's so many dead people. I don't think I've ever seen as many dead people as that.
Oh, you should have been down there under the dwarven home. There was a lot of dead things going on there. Like even one of them was like huge. It was more than all these guys combined.
Wonder who gave this order 66. I wonder who was it.
If you guys are you guys examining the room at all?
It wasn't just
the room, the bodies, like there used to refresh my memory. The wounds were
the women.
The wounds
children.
the wounds kind of had this like black scarring across it. But if you take a moment to kind of examine the bodies in the area, you actually notice a few weapons here that don't appear to be of like a keeper make, or something that at least specifically Huell, as much time as you spent with Roscoe, you would certainly have a good inclination that of what they carried, the type of long swords and stuff that they carried. And so there are a couple of weapons that appear to be more rugged, if you will, in construction. There are some even like dwarven axes, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. So it's kind of an eclectic collection about some broken handles and stuff like that, but no bodies.
Well, this party don't do too well with dwarven X's, does it? Oh wait, you said axes. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Axes.
That's my bad.
That's fine.
Any of the weapons appear to be of orcish make?
Give me an intelligence check at advantage.
Okay, that's a thing I could probably do. That is a 20.
You're confident that you've seen these axes before, and you're so confident you've seen these axes before because you have seen these axes before on your original trek from the town of the halfling city of Westbury, to Dawncross.
Dr. Hill is also a studier of ancient orcish cultures and civilizations.
Yeah, these appear to have the same. They look practically identical.
So
I can't see the difference.
I think there's a connection between. Remember, oh man, it feels so long ago. We went down that wagon road together. Remember, me, you, and Roscoe. It was just the three of us. Well, and Grindlebrew. But
It was a while ago. I mean, after the second or third time dilation and distortion, I quite frankly forgot all
You
about
guys
it.
told me about this with like a fireball and orcs and everything, and then
There
you
was
hid.
orcs. We hid in that cave. That's where we found our way into this whole mess.
yeah,
Right.
maybe it wasn't a coincidence. Maybe the orcs. Maybe that was the opening gambit.
Now that's entirely possible. There's been some enemy that has never revealed itself through our entire endeavor. I think. Well, if I had to guess, I'd place it in that that one orc shaman's hands.
I don't know. Maybe it's still it's still an orc. It's probably a lackey.
How did you find Sinsover? Please tell me, how did you discover its location?
It's funny you should ask that question because it was me, my cousin, and my other cousin, and this old dwarf named Grindlebrew, really old. It was just kind of amazing that he was even with us, but he had a really long, sad story about, his wife Doris leaving him for Gregor. Gregor was this really handsome and charismatic dwarf. You'd really like him if you had a chance to meet him. You can't, he's dead. But yeah, we were escorting a diplomat from our hometown to Dawncross, and we were attacked and assailed by orcs. There must have been hundreds of them, maybe even thousands. There was just so many of them. We fought as many as we could, and then we had to run for it. And we found this cave. We hid in this cave, and the cave, actually led to this realm of shadow, that's where we discovered this monk, kind of like you, and like Roscoe, more like you because he was really old, and he was like stuck in the wall, like carbonite or something, just held in place. And he beseeched a fellow keeper to help him, solve the problem. And he let us forward.
Not following any of this. Just
you had a keeper with you.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Roscoe Threestone.
Oh, Roscoe. Yeah.
Explains all of it.
Does
Sinsover could not have been removed except by a keeper himself. Of course, I did not expect that any keeper would have even thought of taking the sword in the first place, which is why the covenant was made and designed that way.
Oh, it's all he talked about.
Yeah,
Roscoe was very adamant about getting that sword.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is a vainglorious sumbitch if I've ever met one, and that's all he ever wanted.
You shouldn't speak that ill of the dead, Roscoe.
He was good. He was a good traveling companion.
I'd have spoke that ill of him if he was living.
That's very true. That's very true.
I mean, I don't really feel that too bad about it, but all right.
You got to understand, Roscoe and Roscoe, they never seen eye to eye.
They never seen eye to eye.
Yeah.
It's like they're the same height ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Or ever since the grid or something,
It is amazing to me that after all these years that the tales have been lost. You have started something that you cannot yet comprehend. And I know that it is probably of no fault of your own, but my fault, as the traditions in the temple that I created were not strong enough to bear the truth of the sword, of swords.
Wait. So wait a minute. Who are you again?
I am Mason Treadwell.
Have I met you before? There's a lot of names going around right now.
You have not met me.
Okay. That's all I wanted to say. Just my 2 cents right there.
He kind of lets you ramble on for a second, and he kind of looks over at Campus like, is this fucking guy serious?
just try to do your best to keep up with him. Campus is a brilliant savant with a bow and otherwise quite endearing. Now, Cody, player DM, you had said something earlier about them being like they're apparitions or ghosts. They're not really here. They're like projected images.
Rafalien was real.
Rafalien
was real. When he cast teleport, y'all all took his hand physically.
Right. Okay.
When the teleportation spell was beginning to be cast by Rafalien, you actually tried to hand over ashes, the remains of Roscoe, to this Mason Treadwell figure, and he in essence showed you like hand right through you, projection.
Gotcha. He's a projection. Okay, that's what I couldn't remember which one was the projection. Okay.
Well, Master Treadwell, I'm finding your words a little hurtful. We're used to that from the big folk, but one of our own? I mean, Huell's an accomplished wizard, and I'm a doctor, professor at the university. I can teach. Got papers and everything.
Hey, man, I'm a fucking doctor.
He's the smartest man I know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we all knew he was going to the top.
It is probably for your incredible ability that you were tricked or deceived into your course.
Well, that's entirely possible.
Well, we've been shutting those gates. I mean, right? If it wasn't for us, how would we shut those gates?
Shutting any gateways. That is where the deceit has come in. The portals, if you will, have all led you to a very particular artifact, yes? And
yeah, the anchors.
And each of these anchors was placed in a temple or a place of well protection.
Yeah, there weren't any wells around, as far as I could see.
Yeah, and they weren't protecting the wells either.
That is because they are the remnants of my brother's soul. You know him as the Shadow King.
I don't know him. I don't know anyone called that.
I heard that name. They've been talking about it for a while.
I don't associate with people with names like that.
I, Mason Treadwell, am Gregorio's half-brother, his adopted stepbrother, if you will.
I will.
Wait, you're a stepbrother that was adopted, or you were adopted as
I was adopted into the family. And you see him like kind of like, he doesn't really have great people skills. Right at this point, and he's, you know, he's kind of being casual with the information, but
any of us do.
It's all right because we're not.
just
I've got great social skills.
5 assholes sit around and talk about themselves. So he gives you the best. He gives you the best Facebook. Look at me. Here's my awesome backstory, and he proceeds to kind of go into a longer tale. And what you get from this tale is that he was part of a civilization several thousand years ago that had a tremendous, just think of it kind of like City of Atlantis, just that unbelievably more advanced than all the other civilizations prior to it. At a certain point, he was found and adopted by the king. And so the king's true son, Gregorio, he was the one that grew up with Mason Treadwell. But their father, doing everything that he could to grant them any additional boons, had beseeched Eidos, the god of magic, to create a weapon powerful enough to let them always have access to other planes. And thus, 2 swords were created, Sensover and the sword that you now know as Lawbringer. And that is in his folly. Because with the swords came immeasurable power. It was in the request of my father that the swords should always give us access to new worlds and new planes of existence. And thus it was both a gift and a curse, one granting us unnaturally long lives. When my father began to wane in his older age, his true son, my brother Gregorio, had grown changed by this new power. He was deceitful. He did not stand for what the civilization of Adari stood for. He was troubled. And so, during a coronation ceremony, it was announced that I would in fact be taking over for my father. This drove my brother into a blind rage. He thought he was cast aside, slighted by my father Ramsay.
Seems like
later.
a bit of a slight.
You've got a messed up family, man.
That's real messed up. I didn't know that Roscoe had signed up for all that when he joined that place.
No,
They
that's not.
keepers are nothing but trouble.
They were
See,
keeping some
I knew
trouble.
I should listen to you all along. I would have never ended up in that prison if I just listened to you, Roscoe.
Mm-hmm.
But then I never found that spell book, so there's that as well.
Gregario returned years later with an army that I had no ability to turn back, even with all the forces of Adari, and he overran our city. It was plagued with an incredible civil war between us. He had beseeched Veria, the goddess of revenge, and she had granted him the power to seek his revenge. In our throes of combat, he drove me and the rest of my folk out of Adari. But I was not done. I did everything I could. I sought every wise man in my travels. I sought information, any way, any link that could possibly help me contain his new power. And that's when I discovered that his power was driven primarily from his sword Sin Sauveur, much akin to mine. I pray day and night that the Lord Etos give me an ability to shunt this power. And thus, and he kind of points over to the empty altar, the scabbard was born. For the scabbard allows one sword to draw the power from another. By giving me the scabbard, I was able to draw out his energy, draw away his power, and eventually defeat him. But at a great cost. I had to sacrifice my ability to live here on this world. The only thing that I could do was to create a curse, a covenant that would not allow my brother to walk the plane here, the material plane, but instead drive him back to the Shadow Vale where he belongs. But alas, it cursed me as well. So you have not been destroying anchors, dear friends. You have been releasing the energies back into Sin Sauveur itself. You have been unknowingly powering up the sword.
Is that good?
Well, that means that Lich was either mistaken or in league with those forces itself. And then he turns to Rafalien as like a...
Rafalien begins to nod.
What about the vampire?
Indeed. It appears that Pagar Pakshar has been a part of this great deception along with a Harbinger. But not all is lost, dear friends. And he kind of pulls down his shirt so that you can finally see this decaying flesh that is kind of creeping up along his neck and down his arm. And right here on the he's actually holding like a green pendant that kind of has like that is shaped a bit kind of like a large diamond around a rusted chain with a big clawed bronze like dragon claws grabbing onto each side of it.
How'd you get away from him, Rafalien?
This is Hagar Pax's phylactery.
What you still got with it? Why is it still here?
It is our ability to hold him and his forces at bay. Pagar Pakshar, as you know, did in fact belong as a general to the armies of the Shadow King. This has been a great deception in the works for many years.
So we need to destroy that thing around your neck then.
Indeed.
He pulls his axe. I'll put it on the ground. I'll crook it.
So
hold up, Ross.
Whoa.
What? I mean,
I've been
This
following
thing-
almost all of this. Okay, just
sorry,
for
all
the
this
record,
talking is starting to give me a headache. It's all I'm saying.
almost everything
I'm gonna
I've been.
you know what, Roscoe? Huell gets out of the way. You just go right ahead and try to hit that thing with that axe.
Just do it, and then we're done.
You hit it, huh?
And then the darkness will go, and the
also
swords will
back
that easy.
stop. And then that
If it's
Pagar,
that easy, why'd he bring it to us?
yeah, and
Yeah,
then
I got campus and start pulling him along with me and Huell.
Just
That-
like, yeah. Now, clearly, what do we got to do to destroy this thing, Rafalien? If you could have, you would have.
I have not been able to destroy it because, as part of my escape, I myself have drawn my own power from this phylactery. To destroy it would also destroy me. Though I will admit, I am quite ready. Who wants to live out in diseased, immoral life?
Oh, yeah, it doesn't seem like any fun to me.
It kind of seemed like you wanted to when we left. Like the whole
Kinda
lich
seemed
thing
that way.
seemed like a bad idea.
then everyone talked about you, but no one knew who you were, and now you're here. So, you know, I've been connecting all of this stuff together with the sword and that Pagar shags whatever, and it seems like everything's working out. So that's
I'm just really annoyed that everyone takes advantage of our good halfling nature.
They really do. They're
that's
just-
they've been doing that.
We trusted that Death
I
Knight
didn't see it
guy,
coming.
Mhm.
Well, you know what's always an option, cuz we just let this world burn and we just teleport to another one.
Wait, you tell me there's other worlds?
Oh, Roscoe, I could tell you all many things. You see, time's kind of like a bayou all laid out flat like, right?
All right.
You just pass along it as you like. Most people just float along like on a log or some turd or something. But if you're clever, you step off, get on a piece of dry land, go upstream, go on a different stream entirely. It's all just laid out like that. Where do you want to go? No, either way. Rafalien. Mind blown. Just
Roscoe sits like that for like 3 minutes.
Huell misty steps behind Roscoe. That's just a taste.
Done.
Instant. It just happens. Anyway, Rafalien, what do we need to destroy this thing? What do we got to do?
And he kind of holds it up, and he holds it out to you, Roscoe, because you've kind of like mentioned, hey, what, pull out your axe. What do I got to do to break it? You can destroy this now and here, although I will not be able to aid you further.
Wait, so you're saying I can just destroy this thing with an axe?
And he kind of holds it out to you.
Do the Gimli.
Well, and Roscoe like puts it on the ground.
Little hobbit, you can't destroy an item like this.
Yeah. And as Roscoe steps up, Huell's just going to look at Rafalien and go, what'd you do with your spell book?
He's kind of taken at the point
Where
where
that at?
he's ready to die. And so he's going to pull his spell book out and he's going to hold it up.
It's in good hands. Huell tucks it into if he lets him, Huell will take it and tuck it in. Any passwords?
He kind of shakes his head and he holds up to give a moment to wait.
Rafalien 1, 2, 3.
And he basically says, I made the discovery that Pagar Pakshar was responsible for these portals opening, and thus the black magic causing change across our world. I imagine that by ridding me, and you realize that this necrotic energy looks just like all the other black taint that you guys saw happening. It will rid this land. I hope.
Rafalien, I'm sure I'm glad that I met you. I hope whatever happens to you afterwards, it ain't nearly as bad as all this.
No, when that other guy got cured, it wasn't pretty at the gate.
Shh.
It was really bad.
Bro.
Oh, is that
Such a bad
wait, was that them screams I heard on the day I saw y'all in the courtyard?
It might have been.
I don't know, I just heard someone screaming like the Dickens. Like Granny Mabel whenever you left that spider in her slippers. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Woke up the whole Shire.
Yeah. It's a lot like that.
You
Like an old halfling woman screaming about a spider.
You kind of see Mason Treadwell walk over, and he's kind of been tuned you guys out for a moment as he's kind of like left back over to the altar. And he comes back and he's like, "You cannot destroy this man yet."
Well, he wants to go, and it'll weaken our enemies.
I have never destroyed any man.
And he says, "How will you travel?"
On our broom?
Well, Huell kind of holds the spell book. We can give it a shot. I mean, like, are you ready to go now, Rafalien?
I am here to serve you as long as you need, but this cannot leave my possession or your possession and fall back to Pagar Shah.
Mm-hmm. Well, then where's the safest place to destroy this thing? Back at Silasisi?
He is like, you're asking him like, where's the best place can we kill you? And so you kind of see him, he's wanting to be like, but he's kind of struggling here a little bit.
Yeah.
Master Treadwell.
Basically,
a little
it's like,
fearful of death.
right. Are we about to strand ourselves in the Shadow Veil? I mean, we might need to do that anyway, right?
Yeah, you're not in the Shadow Veil currently. You're back on the material plane where the elf rowboat lady had dropped you off.
Yeah, that's right.
Near Silasisi.
Silasisi.
Master Treadwell, where does Rafalien?
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. You're back. You're in the temple.
We're in the temple.
Yeah, you had left back into that place and teleported over.
Right.
Excuse me.
There we go.
Right.
All this jumping around without a TARDIS. It's very confusing.
Very confusing. We need a TARDIS. Well, I mean, I'm sure Roscoe's ready to just take this thing out. I mean, now, Mason, like, the enemy is connected to this thing. Destroying this will weaken our enemy. We always.
Well, you keep saying we still got to go somewhere. Is where we got to go.
We got to go to Gia. That's the last place on the map. Can you get us there, Rob?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he's going to be there with the sword and the thing. That's a good call.
Indeed. The last remnant, or as you call it, anchor, is near the city of Zhai.
So why don't we just hop over there all magically like, and then immediately destroy the thing?
No, we got to get the sword back. So he can't break the last anchor.
But when do I get to destroy the thing?
After we get the sword back, we kill the traitor.
All right. So we're putting
And he
a
ran off in the
kibosh.
middle of the night. So that was really down low.
Put a pin in the axe right now, Roscoe.
So we're putting a pin in it, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And he puts his axe back on.
Now, I for one think that we should destroy this thing as soon as possible. Now, that's no personal offense to you, Rothelli, and I understand the choices in your life led you to this point and what have you. But this is also a two-way street, is it not? Possessing this thing, this isn't just a weapon that we can use against the enemy. They could use it against us.
And he ponders for a moment.
They could be listening right now.
Wait, you mean they can track us? Track it?
Wait, who are these people? Those orcs?
It's connected to this thing, this Pakshar thing.
Pagner guy.
Indeed, the Lich would be drawn to his phylactery, though I do not think that he would risk coming and claiming it himself. It is not difficult to destroy now that it is in our possession.
But he could
And
send
it
any
was
number of
quite
nasty beasties at us.
difficult.
Huell starts to get super paranoid about.
Like, yo, man, a lich might just show up and start getting his fucking shit back. Yeah, so he tells you, he's not sure if it could be used against you guys. You might have a Voldemort situation going on for sure.
Huell is, as Huell's mind expands with each increase of his potential power, he understands more about the sort of dangers of this thing possesses. I think we should get this. I think we should destroy it as soon as possible. I'm very sorry about that, Rothellian. Like I said,
Well, we could
glad I
get
met you,
give us a
and
lift.
I hope it ain't bad afterwards.
We could get a lift, and as we touch down, bam.
That'd be helpful.
Wait, how far away is this G?
Zhai is far.
Zhai.
It's a trek.
Yeah.
It's gonna take you
it
some
takes
time to
a
get
while
over there.
Yeah.
That's why we don't want to walk. So.
Road trip.
I am not even sure that Zhai is the correct place to go to.
Neither am I, to be honest.
Where would you go?
I don't
'Cause
know.
I was-
I would stay here.
I would go to me.
I might go home.
To you?
Wait, is that a city?
Where are you at?
I'd probably go.
I am not present here on this plane, but I am
You are.
in fact present here on this plane.
Are you
My
trapped
bo-
in stone?
My body is in fact entombed, though not in stone, but not in stone. It is part of my curse.
Wait, are you the guy in stone, like you were saying with the orcs at the beginning? You're that guy?
No,
Oh.
That was your brother.
indeed.
Is he like your evil twin?
Yeah.
I haven't been
Oh,
tracking.
you're both in stone?
Whoa.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
sucks.
Well, see, now this is starting to make sense.
Everyone's in stone. I'm connecting a lot of stones now.
There's a lot to connect. Yeah, I think, well, Roscoe was just overeager to get that. He stole that scabbard, right? He's sort of like pointing. He's sort of like trying to get Roscoe in on a Roscoe bash.
No. He recovered the scabbard. He stole the map.
Oh, it was the map. That's right.
Oh, you still stole something?
Wait. What map?
Pull out the map. One of us has it.
Yeah.
This
someone
map.
figures who has the map?
And he tries to take it out of instinct, but he fucking can't. So he just kind of whips through the map. Hold it up for me, please. And he looks and he sees all three of those kind of like the holes. He sees everything that was left in this map that was left in the scabbard. Where did you get this map?
We told you it was in the scabbard. Roscoe recovered it from some thieves. The map fell out. He knew he should have put it back, but decided to keep it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
I know
So
what
the
that
perfect
means.
Roscoe Three Stone stole something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, seems to me he
Roscoe's
got his
crime
just
set this whole
desserts.
thing off.
Wait,
I
what?
think he was just holding on to it for a bit. He wanted to help.
I think he wanted that sword. Roscoe joined because he liked the law, but he liked to fight. He's a scrapper.
Yeah, but correct
You know
me
how
if I'm
three
wrong.
stones are.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. What do you think would have happened
Wait,
if
wait.
he'd have told somebody about that map and they maybe would have gone after this in force? But instead, he kept it secret. And then Roscoe just...
It's all Roscoe's fault.
I don't feel it doesn't sit well with me to blame Roscoe.
Man, fuck Roscoe. I'm glad I killed him.
Yeah. He murdered his own people because he lied to them.
Right,
It
guys?
comes back to get you. It comes to collect.
That's true.
Right?
That's
He
true.
made a mistake. He wanted to be a hero and he wanted to be the one to bring the sword back to the order. He thought he was going to be famous.
So Roscoe all along was this Pack Schnack guy, right?
Mhm.
That's
He's
what.
working.
He might as well have been.
That's what we're saying, right?
He was
And
picking
Rafalien kind of leans up and he goes, Tyler had told me that he had visited the Temple of the Blue Garden here several months ago when he first met Roscoe. It is perhaps perceivable that he left the map in place for one of the younger keepers to discover.
Then what is our poor Roscoe going to do if somebody's been playing him since the beginning?
He just wanted to prove himself.
He could have been honest. That's all I'm saying.
He could have been honest.
He was honest with
Could have
us.
been lawful.
Mhm.
Instead,
could have
he
abided
was.
by his-
Oh.
And think about all the goodness that he could have done if he just
didn't
obeyed the law.
He didn't keep anything from his cousins.
That's one of those hypocritizes right there.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Kid's got the right of it.
What does Mason Treadwell think of this map? Throwing Roscoe.
I'm like holding the map up, trying to defend poor Roscoe's all that's left of him.
Poor Roscoe.
The black taint. I can't even say it anymore. You guys, fuck you. The black taint around all of the holes.
I thought it was between. Never mind.
The black taint around the hole is it's still present in growing at this point, and so he kind of looks over it as though it must have been a key to derive the exact locations of each of the shards.
Yeah, we said that already. The things we were calling anchors.
Yeah, we just thought it was something different. Now,
Well, I mean, the sword did drive back the taint.
sword did. There's something there.
Perhaps it was by design.
This has been a very, very clever ruse all along.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I didn't
like,
even see it coming.
Yeah, Rafalien, can you plane shift?
He's kind of like looking at you like, I I can't just let you guys like bounce out of here. But he's like, perhaps it's
Always an
not a
option.
magic. I've certainly prepared or tried.
Well, there was Aunt Ellie and Uncle Bill.
Oh,
There's
that's true. You're
Grandpa.
right
They're
about
all
that.
still there, man.
You're right about that, Braso. I think
Can we take them all?
We need at least a gate.
Yeah, we could take all of the halflings.
Yeah, we need at least a gate. Well, Mason here says we should find him. This map has been leading us astray the whole time. Maybe Zhai isn't the place to go.
But
maybe it's
isn't
not.
that he's going to take the sword, the Zhai, and he's going to break the last anchor, which isn't really an anchor.
It's
And-
like this is like not even an.
Evil Voltrons are going to form.
It's not even a boat.
That's true. Well, yeah, we got to go there and at least try to stop Tyler.
I'm kind of mad that he stole the sword from us.
I am too. We would have just done it anyway. Could have come in but why does he want to work so hard?
Yeah, we were doing all the work.
We
It
were.
seems odd.
Like, it seems weird that he'd let us do all the work and then he'd come. Maybe he wants the glory.
Oh, maybe.
I can't have anybody taking credit for my actions.
No, we got to stop him because we're the ones that open the gates or shut down the anchors.
Maybe we can glue them back together.
Maybe.
Oh, how bad would that piss him off?
Wait a minute. If that sword can take off the gates, where's this other sword at?
Well, that's what I always wanted to know.
Hey, you, if you're the brother, is that other sword with you?
Indeed, that is why he is going to come after me, should he succeed or not. I know where he will be.
So we can stay one step ahead of him then. Let him do his anchor thing.
Yeah, we can head him off from the past,
We'll
right?
be there.
Because we know where he's going to be right now.
The covenant says that neither sword should try to reclaim power from another. That was part of our banishment, our inability to walk and live on this plane. So he will come to me. He will come to me.
But what
To
happens if he breaks that
release-
other anchor?
It will merely complete my brother's resurrection, but it will not allow him to pass into this plane.
So it'd be like a ghost like you.
Similarly, yes. Should the covenant be broken, should my sword fall into the hands of the Harbinger and he places it into the scabbard, that would be enough to break the magical covenant, keeping Gregorio from his return to the material plane.
That's very sexual. You know that, right? That covenant that you and your brother came up with.
Charged.
It is not one that my brother came up with, I assure you.
So we need to get the Ark of the Covenant, and put it in some kind of big warehouse.
He kind of looks over at you like, why is this fucking guy with you?
Listen, kids,
He's really good
I'm
with the bow.
genius with the bow. Let me tell you.
like an artist with an arrow.
Yeah.
It will make you cry.
The man writes
I've,
sonnets.
I've cried a
Yeah.
lot during this.
Picasso at like 600 feet.
Exactly.
I'm
And like I
sorry.
said, he's endearing. Never boring. Never a boring conversation.
I mean, seriously, look at that Pudd'em right now.
And if you ever have a Kenku problem, this is the guy you want.
Mr. Guy, he'll get rid of those.
I'll kill him.
Well,
Wait,
where you
I
at then,
tripped
Mason?
over a dead Kenku back in Golden Leaf.
That was us.
Had like 3 arrows in him.
This guy.
Oh my god.
It was amazing. We didn't think he could do anything. And then he was like,
Even did I.
Well,
and Kenku were dying everywhere.
thank you. That was a good meal.
I'd just like to point out that Nerdator Doug is right. Scabbard is a prophylactic for a sword.
No, it absorbs the power from the other one.
No, it's a prophylactic. By the way, Doug.
Bravo. Bravo. So, well, where are you at, Mason?
I can show you.
Oh, what if we break you out instead?
I doubt you have the magical capabilities of even opening the gateway. But
That was kind of
That hurts.
You could just take that, Huell.
That's a lot. Hold me back. Taking it
Hold me back.
You just got a new book and everything.
I'm gonna fist fight this ghost.
Use Mage Hand.
Yeah. I
the
got magic.
doorway is sealed and can only be opened by a keeper.
Oh. Well, can you induct us into the keepers?
Alas, I cannot. Nor I wouldn't want you to. By reclaiming the sword for me, you would be weakening the covenant anyways. Only strengthening Gregorio for his return.
Really sounds like
But
you got a bad deal.
If you could kill the Harbinger prior to him making his way to my body, that could, in essence, put a end to this rise for my brother, at least here on this plane.
That was the plan. I was saying we go to Zhai, we kill him, we take the sword, we break the last thing because you know we're going to do it anyway, even by accident.
Just by accident. It'll happen. Well, so you want us to let Tylor destroy the anchor with the sword. And
We set an ambush.
And then he's going to come after you. We set an ambush while he's there along the way.
That is certainly an option, though I am afraid what would happen if he was successful.
Well, could we destroy this phylactery afterwards? That'd weaken his allies at least.
True, but it would allow him to open a gateway into your world, unleashing his tainted Adari followers and army. This was part of his power when he returned to siege Adari while I was sitting on the throne. He had changed the people that went with him into these black stone-skinned warriors. Something unlike we had ever seen. They didn't bleed. And if he has indeed been building this army through whatever existence he has had over the last few thousand years, I worry what it might be capable of. Should you fail, it most assuredly would mean your end, though not the end of the material plane, but it would certainly plunge this world into war, at the least.
Well, we've kind of sealed ourselves into this deal with blood already.
Yeah, that's true. I would just assume we'd go to Zhai and we can just sort of intercept it there. At the very least, we should try. We shouldn't let him do what he wants. That would just be foolish.
I am here to help you in whatever way that I can until it is deemed that my help of you is irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
We're well past that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't never been responsible in my life.
Nor have I. I found that it was always quite boring and, well, only get one life, so you might as
Roscoe
well have...
was always the most level-headed.
Roscoe really was, and look where it got him. He didn't have an outlet for his rambunctiousness, and then it's turned his back on him. Got him. And that got us into this whole mess.
Elephant toe jam.
Well, I kind of think we should go to Zhai and see if we can't stop Tyler from doing whatever it is that he's doing. Might even get there before he does.
Yeah, it kind of sits wrong in my craw to let him achieve that goal, especially after he stabbed us in the back.
That's very true. That's very, very true.
It feels very personal at this point.
I am curious to ask him why he didn't let us finish doing all the hard work, because that's what I would have done, cuz.
No doubt.
Yeah.
As you guys are having this conversation, the map that you guys are holding that you were allowing Mason to kind of examine, something begins to happen with it. The black taint near the city of Zhai begins to fade.
He done did it.
He done did it.
Oh, he so did it.
He did something.
Well, I guess
We coming to you, Mason.
where you at?
Then that is what we should do, is prepare. And he kind of looks over at Rafalien. Are there any allies, any friends that you have here that might be able to assist us in any way?
There is no one left here, perhaps, but aid from the elves.
And he kind of points over. He kind of points over to campus and is like,
This one's father is of great importance in the city of Cilisisi.
Oh, yeah. That's my dad.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on the dwarves. I don't think we're going to be very welcome over there.
No. I think we should get the orcs. They seem pretty badass.
But wait a minute. Didn't we just discuss the orcs might have been part of this all along?
Oh, that's partly too as well.
Aye, could be. Could be. Can't trust orcs is what I say sometimes.
Yeah, I don't, we haven't been quite as welcome in most of the places that we've been. We've been blamed for a lot of things that weren't our fault, which I assume, given that our enemies have been manipulating events behind the back to make us look as though we're responsible, explains a lot of things. But I don't know that the dwarves or the others are going to want to hear any kind of explanation. They won't.
I just usually chalk it all up to short blaming.
It's always short blaming.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want to do about this mess? Like, I mean, Roscoe is a keeper. These guys are all keepers. Feels kind of wrong just to leave them like this.
Yeah.
Can you just can you do the thing? We'll gather them up and.
What now? What are we doing? You want me to gather them up and blow them
I
up?
mean, we could just give him a nice big.
It seems better than leaving them for the carrion.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we can if you like. Mason
seems right.
I suppose that it is. We can gather them up. I think I still have. I don't know what's mine.
I'll go into the temple and start looking for casks of oil.
yeah, if you want to do that, you certainly can.
And Roscoe will start kind of pulling them all to a central, like a courtyard or whatever. And he is checking their pockets while he's doing it.
While the monks don't make off with or don't carry much on them,
Prayer beads. You've got tons of prayer beads.
you tell me what you find in their pockets. How about that? You tell me something interesting you find.
Maybe I find around one of their necks they got like some kind of ring, maybe from a sweetie or something.
Okay. Yeah.
He'll take that, put it in his pot in a pouch.
Yeah.
That'll make for a good night of gambling with Huell.
Mm-hmm.
So what else are you guys doing while you're here? You in essence have the groundwork for what needs to happen. You have a couple of different things you could do. You could flee, you could gather allies, you could try to head them off and prepare ahead of time. So why don't you guys kind of tell me, what you think, what type of action that you want to take?
Let's see.
But I feel like we can't go to the dwarves. We can try the elves.
No.
You know?
I do think we should at least know what whether the orcs are our enemies or not, because they could be our enemies, but like they've only been our enemies once.
So you're like going to
And
spy on them?
I would be now. I mean, I don't want to just bust up in there without a plan, but I think it might be worthwhile to just pop in and see how they're doing and inform them of the situation. They live here too. They might be willing to make temporary calls, assuming they're not our enemies, in which case we do what we can to weaken them and then leave.
So I begin like helping arrange the bodies and get ready to do like a pyre. The only thing is, if anyone really knows anything, it remarkably looks like an orc ritual, burial ritual, because that's all I really know. It's got like gathering up their weapons at their feet. That seems about right.
So Roscoe's robbing everybody. Dr. Hill is trying to perform an orc burial for the very people, for the keepers that all the orcs came in and massacred. And Huell wants to go hunt them down and ask them if they want to hang out and get super tight to prevent the world from being ran over.
I want to know whether they are indeed our enemies or not. I mean, they were rampaging all over the place.
Or if they were being used as well.
They were being tricked.
That's what I want to know too.
And campus, what's are you just going along with whatever at this point?
He's blinking a lot right now. This is what happens when he tries to think a lot. Is he just
You look over, he's got his boot off and he's showing his toenail.
He's like, I just wanted to escort a few.
He has no idea what he's doing.
He was gonna ranger. He had his first rangering gig. It was going so well.
Good. He doesn't know exactly what's happening with the fate of the world, but he definitely knows that he doesn't like it, and something needs to be done. He's very clear on that. Gotta do something.
Gotta do it. So yeah, that's what I think we should do. At the very least, we need to know what's going on with them.
Okay, how do you propose to find them?
Well, there's a big bunch of their axes and stuff here, yeah, that the temple did they leave a trail? Like, how many of them do we think there were? It seems like to me we might be able to backtrack from where they attacked here and maybe see something.
I do want to remind you that the bodies here are, when you showed up, they were a little decayed, so you had the impression that some significant time had passed. So you can certainly attempt to kind of like maybe try to find a trail, or maybe head down the mountain and see if anything stands out to you, and then from that point maybe ask people if orcs have been sighted nearby, or you could maybe do some divination magic and try to peek in on them.
My question would be, like, the areas where the lands where orcs are known to kind of inhabit, how far is that from here? Like, how out of the way is this place in comparison?
This is a little out of the way for the orcs. They're kind of in this region, but they're not nearly this far west. They are much closer to Dawn Cross, and in between Dawn Cross and Ci'la Sisi. The Temple of the Blue Garden is past Dawn Cross, past Westbury, and then there's the Temple of the Blue Garden.
So, like, this isn't a place you're going to sack on your way to another place. Like, you got to want to come here.
It would not give anybody with an intelligence of 10 or 12, like, that has studied in orcs at all. You wouldn't have the impression that this is, at least the original orcs that you came across, this is not probably part of their normal territory. It does seem like it would be a little bit out of the way.
Now, the other question is, there's all the carnage, the keepers were slaughtered. Does it look like the place itself has undergone much damage that isn't like incidental? Or does it look like things were taken from here?
Oh, it definitely, like, this place was ransacked. Like, yeah, there's almost no valuables, which is probably why Roscoe only found the one gold ring.
So I'll ask, Mason Treadwell. So what is the point to this?
I do not know. Perhaps you said that the orcs had ambushed you. Yes.
The orcs ambushed us. We were involved in a diplomatic endeavor between Bagram and Dawncross when the
And from the ambush is where you found Saint-Sauveur.
well, we found a cave which led us to a place which took us to the Shadow Vale, which led us there.
I do not know their connection in this tale. Perhaps they are in league with the Harbinger. Perhaps they are not. Perhaps they are simply tools, like dogs, to prevent the keepers from intervening. I'm not sure.
That's my theory. Either way, it'd be nice to know where they are, where they stand, and whether or not they're going to show up whenever we try to stop the Harbinger from getting to you.
Indeed. If they are, in fact, in league with the Harbinger, then they would probably pose a serious threat.
Would I consider it normal for the orcs to take their own with them, the fallen?
Typically, they will burn them. They will pile them up and burn them nearby where they fell.
I will look for that location. Like
Okay.
I'll kind of scout out around and see what it looks like might be the most likely.
So I'll just tell you, as you know, if you go off kind of looking for this, you leave, you walk outside the temple, and right outside the temple is like a huge mass grave that has been dug right at the doorsteps, and there are charred bones there.
Well, that was easy.
I mean, it's exactly what they did. They after they had their battle here, they took their dead, left their weapons, and burned in an orc burial in the only place that they could actually dig into the ground, the first place that they could dig into the ground.
All right.
So,
I
Mason
mean,
Treadwell, do you know what kind of wealth was kept here?
I do not. This temple is one that I built, but not one that I watched over. Only recently have I awoken. It has been many years since I walked these halls. The current state, the number of keepers, the traditions, they're probably all foreign to me.
So it seems like the orcs were played against the keepers in order to keep them out. But it can't be just for their military might, because the orcs rolled right over them.
yeah, there might have been something here they took, or
Something
I could
they needed to
point to
keep
deny us allies, but
something they needed to keep the keepers from doing.
You guys, even though the bodies are decayed, you do still see those kind of scorching black, big cuts across a lot of the bodies.
like
Like a flaming weapon or something?
a flaming weapon.
Perhaps
Yeah,
that could certainly leave a mark very similar to this, if not identical.
not like a necrotic Tari kind of.
Less necrotic and more scorched.
Lightsabers. They're clearly using lightsabers.
Lightsabers.
They got the younglings.
We build children too.
All of them. Well,
Is there a lot of those marks?
I hate you. Sorry.
The marks are not on all of the bodies. There's a good chunk of them. Yeah, there's a good chunk of them, but not on all of them.
not at all. So it's
That's a
probably
lot of flaming slashes.
yeah.
It looked like they had the high ground here, and then must have jumped.
Must have. Yeah. I think
A lot of sand around here.
a lot of it. I think we need to find them. Can you track them back from this pyre that they made? Huell looks to the two rangers in the party.
So, looking at the pyre, how old does it look?
It looks like it's the same time as the battle. I mean, you're kind of like taking in the whole scene together. The bodies have decayed a little bit.
Can we like kind of date that like weeks, months? Okay.
Maybe even 6-7 months. Maybe even longer than that.
That's
Yeah.
the
We
magic I have would find them. It's still rather limited. I need more power. Huell he comes out of his well, we know where they were between Dawncross and Vagram. You go looking for them there.
We could be just a fool's errand now, or maybe they've all packed up. This is really far for them.
Yeah, it is.
I wonder if they've gone somewhere besides here. And then Dawncross, they drove them out.
Mm-hmm.
The dwarves and the humans rallied, after Dawncross was sacked to drive them back.
Something doesn't make sense to me though. They must be coming for me. Of that I'm certain, but even with the sword, the magic that is my tomb can only be opened by a keeper. Why would they have killed all the keepers?
I bet you
they got one alive.
Yeah.
They didn't kill all the keepers. There's probably ones that aren't accounted for that they took with them.
I bet they took some of the younglings.
Ones
they can easily manipulate.
Perhaps. Yeah. That must be it. Yes.
Well, you said they wanted something from here.
That would also answer your question, brother Huell, cousin Huell.
Yeah.
What side the orcs are on?
That's entirely true. I mean, they still could be tricked, but at this point, it might be a lost cause. Nevertheless, it's good to know. We can expect more of them, as well as that shaman of theirs and that old warlord we almost got.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having words with those guys, though. We did blow up the wagon.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And they really made us look bad on our first job.
They really, really made us look bad. Everybody in Dawncross was blaming us as if
they were. Did you see the looks they gave us? They were all looking down at us.
I'll never forget it.
Especially the guys in the towers on the wall. They were looking down on us so hard.
Yeah.
I will tell you, Dave, that Dr. Braso Hill, when you found the remains of the orc warriors that had fallen, it didn't look like an insignificant amount. It was serious amount of orcs here. So there is the possibility. I mean, your character would kind of know this from looking at all the bones.
Yeah.
The orcs did take pretty heavy losses here.
They were pushed out of Dawncross by the orcs or the humans and the dwarves, so they probably just a shadow of their former selves. Possibly.
And they really needed whatever was in here bad.
They need a keeper to open it.
Look at the numbers they threw at him.
Well, he kind of Huell's going to message Roscoe. Roscoe, you should probably kill any keepers we come across. And then that's it.
You can reply to this message. No.
I think I will.
It's funny to me on a personal level because the keepers were all of Pruitt's ideas in the first place, and he's having to just see everyone dead and the whole sword that he came up with his background in. And now he's just been told to kill any keeper that he comes across.
That's the way of things.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, the orcs have the keepers, so I guess we're going to have to try and get them back.
Well, and also because orcs are probably there on their way to who's a what's a mason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Indeed, they will surely be headed my direction.
Let's go there.
Let's just get to you right now.
You see Rafalien, and he kind of looks worse for the wear. And he kind of tells you, like, I can do this one more time, kind of vibe, where he's like, I've got enough magic to get us wherever we need to go.
One more insane.
Roscoe hefts his axe and looks at the phylactery and is like, one more time's all you're going to need.
So if you guys are ready to go, Rafalien will give you the nod. Mason Treadwell will kind of give him some directions to the mount. And, he kind of like, yeah, I think I can get there. I'm not terribly familiar with it, but he's ready to teleport you guys if you just want to go straight there and try to get there before anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got this, Rafalien. I know on my ass getting teleported into a side of stone wall. Heard stories. Told us stories.
I believe that I can get there well enough.
And he holds out his hands, the decrepit hand, over towards campus again, because he was the only one that would take it the first go round.
All right. I grab it.
It's
rude not to.
bony and sinuous, flaking off in your hands. It's like crunching a cockroach in your hand. Not that I've ever done that, but in a matter of moments, the light, airy wisp of magic and the familiar tone and cadence of Rafalien's gaspy breath take form, and you guys feel yourselves being pulled lighter and onto almost nothingness. And you find yourselves in front of a mountain, the side of a mountain. And on the side, you see a set of stone doors. I don't know why this is going off. You see a set of stone doors that are not ornate, but rather very, very, very much designed to blend in with the rocks around it, right? It's got kind of that edgy, rocky bumps and bruises, and it blends very, very, very neatly into the side. Only because you are so damn close to the door when you appear can you even realize that, hey, shit, there's a door there. In front of you is kind of a large hilly-like area that is, got some trees around it and kind of leading up into the doorway behind you.
Is this the place?
I must take my rest.
Yeah, why don't you just go ahead and sit down there, buddy? Have a nice rest.
It kind of looks like almost the edge of his chin line is starting to, this undead material has kind of creeped up into almost starting to blend into his face, even through his beard.
Right here.
Huell hands him a cigarette.
He takes a cigarette.
It's all right.
And then Roscoe, like standing behind Rafalien, he like pulls out the phylactery that they never took back, and then pulls out his axe. Is like, and just puts it down on the side on the rock, and he's like, "You just take a nice deep drag there."
And he's crunch it?
Yeah, he's gonna take a swipe at the axe.
Wow. Okay. You set it quickly down on a rock, and before anybody can even react, while Rafalien's kind of in the middle of this like relaxing pose, taking a rest for himself, boom! This thing shatters. Small object, huge wave of magical energy emanating from this thing, and immediately this big bright light just ricochets through the edge of this kind of forest that you guys are in, and you see Rafalien, and he's beginning to kind of like scream and light up, and the necrotic magic around his body decays away, but it doesn't leave any remaining flesh. So it literally looks like a big cavernous hole where his shoulder and arm and the side of his body just begins to just crumble and fade away. And you see him, he's grasping up, and he just goes into kind of an awful, painful death right here in front of all of you.
Mm-hmm.
A sad, bad way.
Oh boy.
Imagine what that'd have been like if he knew it was coming.
That would have been bad. So
You just
he's
campus
still,
him.
That's true. Rafalien's still here. He's just got holes where the necrotic rot had already like taken over?
Yes. Yeah. So basically think, he's a regular person. He's had necrotic rot through about a third of his body. And that necrotic rot just literally turned into dust. So it was most of his organs, his arm, his shoulder, up his neck and the side of his face, underneath of his beard where it hadn't even started to rot yet.
Mhm.
All of that is just gone. Like a big shark took a big bite out of it and ripped it away.
Yeah. Huell is going to take Roscoe's ashes in the bottle. Roscoe, you're always a really good friend to me, and I appreciate you bailing me out of jail that one time, because if you hadn't, I would have never found that dead wizard spell book and come across it. I guess, that's kind of nice, even though your whole stealing that map kind of got us into trouble with this. As he's doing this, he's sort of like dumping it out in the wind and letting it blow away, and sort of like, you should be free, whatever's going on in the afterlife for you. I hope it works out for you, Roscoe. We got to clean this up, though. And Huell is then going to take that lich dust and sweep it up into the bottle.
I just want to thank EmoFo for the super chat. Happy Wednesday to you too.
Thank you,
Happy
buddy.
Wednesday. We appreciate it. Everybody, I just loved the role play tonight. Everybody has a point of inspiration if you do not already have a point of inspiration.
Woo!
And yeah, as Huell lets those ashes go, like you see Roscoe over there, like taking a swipe at him with his axe.
You're just swinging wildly at the ashes as they dust away. He's like, I'm just making fucking sure.
One last
Gotta let it go, man. You gotta
One
let it
last
go,
shot.
Kevin.
I'm letting it go right now.
Gotta let it go. And I also just dropped that link in the chat for you folks that want to take a crack at that contest. Get in on those dice.
Yeah, we appreciate Norse Foundry for helping us out with that pretty killer giveaway. So, the 4 of you, not the 5 of you, not the 6 of you, the 4 of you
Oh boy.
find yourselves sitting out here next to the mountain.
Well, that just happened. He got campus right up and bad there.
Mm-hmm. All right, so where are we going now?
I never know.
So when Treadwell was giving directions to Rafalien,
You don't see Treadwell here anymore.
is there any caves?
There's no cave entrances. The mountain side that you're next to kind of like, imagine the rock as it starts to, it's not an instant mountain, right? It's not, it's nothing like that. But the section you guys are in is kind of pretty tall in this area and kind of builds up pretty high around it. And it sort of digs in a little bit, Dave, to the doors. If you were just walking here over and over and over, you would have never seen them. But because of the way that you were dumped here right in front of them, it's painfully obvious now that you can see them because you're right there on them. But there are no caves or any place to dig into here or to take shelter in that you can see. You could probably explore around the mountain, maybe leave this area, but nothing immediate. Uh-oh, looks like we lost Jim Davis.
He just ran away.
He's just going to take a piss.
Oh, okay.
But you said there's some doors like right here, right?
Yes.
Roscoe goes up. He's like, "Well, it's a door. It's got to have a handle." And he starts feeling around on the mountain. Roscoe starts feeling up the mountain.
You're feeling up the mountain, buddy. You're giving it your best groping. Why don't you show me how it's done, buddy? I mean, how? Just don't go under too far, okay? I mean, the
watch out. The tail.
Black taint is not an issue here. Yeah, you're giving it your best go, and you can feel a little bit of the like that clean, crisp crack in the door and kind of around the archway, but there's nothing to grip onto, and that little crack is so dead center perfect that you're like, there's no way anybody can open this up. You might be able to break it open, but there's nothing to grab onto.
I'll be right back.
Uh-oh. All right, guys. Let's take it.
I will continue investigating, looking to see if there's any hidden
I tell you what. You know what? Look, we're gonna take a $5. Will, can you set up a $5?
I can give you a $5. That means something else in English.
Oh, wait, maybe not. Maybe not. There's Pruitt.
Fucking neighbors, god damn it. Seriously, fucking neighbors are going at it again.
Okay.
Banging that I thought was on my door was on the door across the hall. Anyway.
False alarm, guys. We're not
Probably
taking
gonna
a
call the
$5.
cops here in a minute, though.
All right, so you guys are here at the door. There's nobody near you and nobody around you. Tell me, describe what do you guys want to do? The sun is starting to set.
We can't seem to crack it. Maybe we should just take a rest, and sleep on it. See if any good ideas come up in the morning. That's what I do every day.
There are some trees and foliage. There are some trees and foliage nearby, and to kind of describe, there's almost like a small clearing. I don't want to call it a clearing. There's a little bit of a gap between the trees, between them kind of being more heavily, just heavier trees, a few, 100 feet away, 200 feet down kind of from the sloping hill. And then there's a few trees up here kind of by the ridges near the pathway to this door. So, you guys could, you could leave, a magical alarm sigil here. You could just hang out here and hide behind some rocks and trees and try to get some coverage. There's a lot of things that you guys could do.
Yeah.
As far as trying to make yourselves not visible right directly in front of the door.
So, cuz, you don't think we can open this door, huh?
Well, not without a keeper.
Mm.
Maybe one of them, Roscoe. I can set alarms and the like. I don't have anything that will hinder or harm the enemy like that, but at least know when they get here.
All right.
And are we expecting them to arrive soon?
You don't know.
Well, then I'll start.
It seems as you feel like you got to understand the time between the two realms is so wonky. It's really, really hard to predict. But for you personally, it feels like it was only yesterday that the sword Saint-Sauveur was taken from you. It's only been about 20 hours since the last time that you saw Tylor.
But usually what happens is that those of us on the material plane progress further along the time stream than those of us in the Shadow Veil. If the map was just fading, we teleported here not moments afterwards, it might be a while before we see anyone. Not to mean we shouldn't act quickly. And Huell starts, wherever the first line of defense is, we can start setting up some alarm spells.
Okay. So you're going to start just scattering some alarm spells out and around? How many can you do at one time?
Only do it one at a time. It's a 10-minute ritual, but...
How long do they last? They're permanent, right? Or are they 8 hours?
They're 8 hours.
Yeah.
8 hours.
Yeah.
I want to just start scouting the area and seeing what are the features like. Is there some things we could do, set up some snares or some traps, or maybe some more mundane alarm?
You can cast as many as you want.
Yeah, I can cast them as you want.
So in the area immediately in front of the door, there's not a lot there, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of rocky and slopey, and there's one or two trees kind of on this little pathway up. Down a little bit further is kind of some area that not a lot of trees have grown in, still gradually sloping up, but mostly flat plain area as far as brush goes. There's not a lot of brush or anything like that. And then beyond that, it kind of trickles down into a more heavily wooded area. You notice that the terrain feature like this is kind of swinging universally each direction, kind of around the base of the mountain. That the closer you get towards the slopes and the mountain, there's fewer and fewer trees, and they are a little bit further away.
I would like to go down to that rocky gully that's wooded and start laying alarms there, particularly if there's like an obvious path or something. That's where I'd start, but I don't want to go alone, and I might scout with Fenris first. In fact, I will scout with Fenris first.
Okay.
Roscoe, we should see if we can't find any deadfalls or logs. Campus, you could help too. This would probably be.
I'm really good at finding logs. It's
Maybe we
like
could set
one
up-
of my top 5 things I'm good at.
Maybe we could set up a pile at the top and we can stake them.
That sounds great. That sounds like the best thing you guys
drop
have
it on
ever
'em?
suggested. Like
Roll
all
it
of
down the
us
mountain on 'em.
talking of liches and crazy swords and stuff, but why not just get some logs, put them in a pile together. That's the kind of stuff, I like to do in my spare time. So,
You just pile logs when you're bored?
not when I'm bored. I mean, when I want to do something fun.
You need to hang out more then.
All I want to do.
Roscoe on campus go looking for logs.
I go and get some logs. I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
I am a
And
dog.
Roscoe carries one on each shoulder like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger and
No, I want to get some logs when I'm looking to do something fun. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Yeah, you find logs. You can fucking make logs.
if we can't find any, I found this out. You can cut a tree down and make a log. That's why I got this axe here.
Genius.
You're changing my life.
8 intelligence right here. 8.
Campus has the best fucking time in the world. Roscoe Treestone the Barbarian proves to be the best log hunter the campus has ever seen. In a matter of moments,
It's amazing.
you guys have already got your first couple set aside that you might be able to do something with. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. All right. I'm composed. You guys go off finding logs. I'm gonna flash over to Huell and Braso with the scouting, if you guys don't mind.
That's
The
fine.
log hunting. You guys. So tell me what you're trying to scout. Is there anything in particular that you're looking? Are you looking for logs?
No, we're looking for enemies, and so I think Fenris is like maybe an owl. Forget the last time he was summoned. I just have Fenris go down. I just want to make sure that there's not like a bunch of enemies in ambush, and then set alarms with the mental alarm. The one that does the mental one. I don't know. Along any obvious paths.
So you don't see a lot of obvious paths. You do find what kind of maybe a trail, but Dr. Braso is there with you. You do find what Dr. Braso declares as a like animal trail.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear some animals there.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it sounds like off in the background.
Right. Well, it affects a 20-foot area, so there's like 6 of those for an hour. If like we just spend like an hour doing like a line of alarms along the most obvious path, so that if anyone comes up, at least tonight, we'll know about it. But there's nothing that'll make it permanently warded. You have to.
What?
Okay.
While Huell's doing that, can I like set like snares, things that are probably not really going to stop anyone, but they're gonna be more like annoying, like branches are gonna whip people in their face, and maybe maybe taking whatever rope or vines I can find, and
Yeah, you have enough time. You think before if it gets so dark that you start getting uncomfortable, because the sun is starting to set. Before it gets so dark as you get uncomfortable, you have time to set 3 different snares, traps, whatever. So you just describe what you would like those to kind of look like. And I'm going to make the assumption that Dr. Brasso Hill, based on knowing where the doorway is going to be like, okay, like right here's probably a good area.
yeah, just real simple things. Snares to trip them, or ones that fling them upside down. That's probably what I'm going for.
Okay, no problem. Nothing lethal.
Nah, nothing lethal. I don't think I have anything to do that with anyway.
Okay.
That's where the logs are going to come in later.
So after a few hours, you guys have I'm gonna say you guys went nuts. Y'all are the best log hunters in the world. Y'all found 6 suitable logs to set up.
That's a
solid
new record
logs.
for me.
And while Campus is not the strongest, the little halfling Roscoe Threestone the Barbarian is so pissed at the logs, he just uses his pure fury to power through and get these things back to back in front of the doorway.
Nice. So we'll have those stacked up at the top of the mountain there, and we'll build wedges to hold them in place, and then we'll put ropes on those wedges so Roscoe can pull them at the right time.
Yeah, I'll pull them logs off right quick and in a hurry.
Beautiful. So you guys eventually return after having set an alarm, set some traps, gathered some logs. I'm assuming that y'all kind of gather at least back near towards the door, unless you guys want to press on and see if you can't find another place to sleep, but you would leave the area of the door. Y'all tell me, what are you thinking here?
I want to stay near the door. I don't want to let this thing out of my sight.
No, the door is where they're going for. That should be where we stay.
So, Jim Davis, what are Huell's portents? Because the last time that he rested in the last tiny hut when the sword was taken. So, what do your portents look like?
Looks like a 6 and an 8.
A 6 and an 8. Those might be serviceable. We'll see.
6 and an 8.
I'm gonna make an assumption, Jim Davis, that tiny hut is on its way.
I mean, we will use a tiny hut. It's a ritual that he sleeps in. It's his home.
Okay.
So
you guys begin to go into your ritual of setting up the tiny hut. And as you are, kind of in those last few moments, you can already see some of the magic start to kind of swirl around and start to form it up, and it's really incredible to watch, because the tiny hut doesn't just finish appearing, it kind of gets drawn in slowly through this ritual. And as you do, you hear a from one of Dr. Braso Hill's traps being set off.
Well, we either got company or supper, one or the other.
One or the other.
A few moments later, your mental alarm goes off, Huell.
Well, they're on their way, boys.
Roscoe's going to find a good hiding spot near one of the trails so he can lop a leg off.
I just shared a map with you guys. Ignore the stuff at the bottom for the moment, for the time being, and go ahead and kind of set your characters up however you would like them to be with the hiding spots there. And I'm going to make an assumption that the logs are kind of right in the middle, in between these two trees.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, can you get behind that bush? All right, I'm sorry. That was ill-advised. It was ill-advised. And then Dr. Braso Hill, Dave, is the map working for you, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay. So is that where you want to be?
Yeah. I'm trying to hide in this bush here.
Okay. I got you. So you're gonna hide in this bush. Huell's gonna kind of grab near some of the rocks over there, probably even closer to that to actually be in some of the rocks near the bottom. And then Campus and Roscoe are taking up positions near the trees leading up. At this point, night has fallen. The moon is out just enough for you guys to be able to see the clearing in front of you. But it's not great to see exactly what figures, what kind of creatures. Is it an owl bear or a regular bear? It's gonna be difficult for you to kind of make those things out unless you guys make the make the adjustments. Campus is I think you have dark vision, don't you? Yeah. You've got you've got obviously the best shot here at kind of seeing all what else is going on. You see a couple of figures emerge from the tree line, and they look bigger, and they are kind of hunching down as they kind of come out of the tree line. But they are obviously trying to kind of be quiet. You guys do anything?
I can see him, guys. Do you want me to shoot him?
What do you see?
They're kind of like hulking figures. I can't make it out very well. They're kind of tough to see, you know.
Oh, at this point, I would just cast dark vision on myself to try and see as well.
Okay. You now have dark vision cast. You're able to do that quietly enough. A few more figures emerge from the woods. And then eventually, you hear the steady of a hooved animal clomping kind of up into the kind of rocky terrain at the base of this mountain. And you can clearly see a horse and a rider on the horse come into view. Another horse with a second rider, this time one of the biggest creatures you've ever seen, excluding, of course, Shultira. And these figures seem to kind of be looking out and about, and you can kind of see, you make it with the moonlight, just the tops of their heads, and they appear to kind of be doing this, and a couple of them are coming back over and talking, talking to the person with the horse. And then some torchlight comes into view. They're trying desperately to make it out. It's so far away. A shorter, squattier figure, a kind of more frail figure, and the person holding the torch, the Harbinger. You realize the Harbinger is there, as he is not only accompanied by the initial torch in his hand, but also the now very strong, glowing purple coming from his hilt.
So I whisper to the group, wait till they get closer. We'll roll the logs on them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can't
Got
think.
6 logs. That's more logs than I've ever had. So we'll get them.
Well, we might as well put them to good use.
I've only ever managed to get 3 logs before, so I'm on a record.
Remember, next time, if you only get 3, cut them all in half. Then you have 6.
So I guess like we might have discussed beforehand that we would let anything coming get into that choke point, and and that's when we would release the logs.
Okay.
Release the logins.
You see one of the orcs, and you're quite confident that it is an orc now that you are peeking through the foliage, glancing down there. You see one of the orcs walk up to... It's hard to describe. It looks like a horned orc, but it's really tough to tell, even because it's kind of on the edge of the torchlight there. You see him kind of peeking through, and he says, okay, kind of talks. He bends down, he strikes up another torch, and one solo orc begins to walk your direction.
Huell would like to take out Roshi and roll it down the hill, and he's going to give it a count to 4 before uttering its name.
You assume it's going... are you trying to do this so like casually, or like as a surprise, or you don't want them to hear it at all, or you pretty much
if anything, they think it's a falling rock or something, and then once it's a ways away, turns into a mammoth. And
what's your strength?
8. Like, he's not throwing it, he's like rolling it on the ground, like bowling it.
Okay. The
Granny
slope here
Poppet.
the slope here is probably good, probably good enough for the logs to pick up some speed. So I think that that's probably plausible that you could do that.
Yep.
And so you fling down the Roshi statue. As it begins to and catch on some of the other rocks, you call out its name.
Mhm.
Suddenly, a large mammoth appears down on the field of view, right in front of the orc. And Roscoe and Campus, you guys have the best view at the absolute pure and utter terror on his face. And with that, let's go into some initiative. I'm going to roll initiatives for everybody here. And we're going to start off
I killed it
with
once.
you guys just I know you guys can't see this, but y'all just killed the shit out of this. So it's going to start with Dr. Braso, Hill, Campus, Roscoe, Huell, all the orcs, and it's going to end with the mammoth. So, Dr. Braso Hill, what would you like to do, sir?
You know what? I will. Let's see. How far are they from us?
As far as they are on the map.
All right.
Is that good enough? As far as-
Good enough. The lead guy. I'm going to pull out my hand crossbow, and from hiding, let loose with a shot at him.
Yeah, fire it off.
Maybe we can entice these bastards to get a little bit closer.
And I want to know, before we begin this combat, who has the flying broom?
Well, that's right. Roscoe had it before. I don't know.
I'll just decide. Somebody's got the flying broom.
Yeah, I thought Huell became the steward.
I don't mind taking it. I feel like I have all the magic items though, but I don't mind taking it.
Yeah, I mean Roscoe doesn't care.
This first shot, Cody, is it advantage? Am I hidden?
Yes. Yes, 100%.
All right.
Oh, look at that. First roll, natural 20, sir.
That's
Beautiful.
how you start.
That's how you start.
I think it's more than it gets there, Dave. It gets there.
So, bonus action, I will Hunter's Mark him. I should have did that beforehand, but well, what are you going to do?
I got you, bud.
Can you transfer that mammoth to me?
I think I can.
It's a thing you can do. All right, so let's
That
see.
work?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Ooh, bam.
You suddenly hear the twang of your crossbow ring out and fire down. It actually goes through the mist as Roshi is beginning to rise up from her statue. And the orc is like surprised by all this, and you see him. He immediately goes clutching his chest, and the torch falls on the ground, rolling out of his hand. Campus. You hear this twang of the crossbow behind Dr. Hill. What would you do?
Well, I still have another attack.
Oh, sorry,
boy.
buddy. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
If he's still alive, I will give him another.
Mm-hmm.
And
Throw that damage.
Another one.
then
Another one. The orc goes down with a beautifully executed ambush. Are you done, Dave?
Yeah, that's it. I'm out.
Okay, Campus. You see this. You hear this ring out from the darkness behind you. You see the orc fall and drop dead to the ground. What would you like to do?
I gotta shoot him as well. No, not the same one, different one. I gotta move just a little bit here to get a better shot on orc number 1 there. And let's see, that's with Oakenhammer, my dad's bow, for a 14 to hit.
Well,
that
let me
good
see.
there?
This is against orc number what?
Orc number 1.
Yeah, that's more than enough, my friend. As
Are
your
you-
bow rings out in the darkness.
Are you attacking from hidden also?
Presumably.
You can have advantage.
Oh, I roll the advantage just in case. There you go, 26. It is 14 damage on the first shot on orc number 1.
14 damage. That is significant. You see him also clutch his chest, but he does not fall.
I take my second shot, and that is with, let's check for crits. Nope. A 21 to hit for 9 points of damage on the second shot.
9 points of damage. Absolutely. You'll notice something interesting. The glimmer in your bow, when you fire off in the darkness, it kind of gives off a silvery streak as this magic is attached to this arrow. Both of your strikes hit exactly where you wanted them to, but they both seem to just drop that silvery string just a few feet out in front of the mammoth. But you still drop this orc dead.
Got him! Look, I got one!
Roscoe 3stone.
Those guys are still pretty far out there, huh?
Indeed they are.
Well, Roscoe doesn't have anything ranged. So he is just going to ready an attack. If anybody comes within his range, he's going to attack them.
Okay. That brings us over to Huell. Are we going to just say that you're summoning Roshi, or you want to take a turn here, bud?
I'll take a turn. Roshi just attack, you know. But is there someone who was holding the torch? Can we see them?
He's dead, and the torch is just a few feet here in front of the mammoth.
So really, Huell can't see much at all.
There's still a torch far, far, far off in the back.
Oh, well, Fireball's got incredible range, and I think we might launch a fireball at the people in back.
Yeah. So here's what happens as you think, okay, cool, they're all bunched up. This is a perfect opportunity to ambush this guy. You begin your fireball spell. Nothing interrupts you or intercedes you. You don't have any interference from the orc shaman. As you fire off this fireball, it begins as a small ball of fire, and it slowly grows quickly as it launches its way towards its destination. A few feet in front of Roshi, it disappears into nothingness.
All right.
Almost like pure darkness ate it. But you can still see.
We can still see. So in that case, Huell's going to move from where he was into another place behind cover.
That's going to bring us down to the orcs, who are then going to scream out and kind of start to charge up, wielding their javelins. You see the orcs, the first two kind of come charging this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, how far out is the range of javelin? Do you guys know offhand? What is it, 30?
30 sounds right, but
30.
Yeah,
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Nope. He's going to move up. He's going to move up 2 more. And you actually see him kind of stop here, and he's going to hurl that javelin 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. He's going to throw it at disadvantage as he tries to hurl it into the bushes where Roscoe's kind of crouched down and waiting for him to get close enough. So he's going to do that over here at Roscoe. With that natural 1, he is going to miss wildly. But the orc that follows him has something interesting. You see him run up behind the other orc, and he throws open a bag. And as he does it, you can see it in the light because it's near where the torch is. He just hurls a big bag of rocks. He just takes and throws a bunch of stones all about and kind of towards the mammoth. The orc behind him is doing the exact same thing as they both rush up and just throw these huge bags of rocks, and they scatter them all around. As these rocks come pouring out, it's kind of confusing because it doesn't look like they actually were aiming at anybody in particular. But you see Roshi disappear.
Okay.
The other orcs are going to kind of bide their time for the moment. And then that is going to bring us down here with this guy who I won't mention, and he's not going to do anything at the moment, followed by the Orc War Chief, who is clearly not going to do anything, and the Mammoth, who is going to, unfortunately, for the time being anyways, disappear. That brings us back around to the top of the order. Dr. Braso Huell, what would you like to do, sir?
These guys are all kinds of throwing monkey wrenches in our plans. Although this one orc seems to be out in front, invisible.
The orc is not invisible.
No, visible. I said he's out.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely visible. Yeah, 100%.
All right, bonus action, move Hunter's Mark to him, and we're going to show him some love. That didn't roll, did it? Come on. There we go.
As you go to move your Hunter's Mark over to him,
Yeah.
you can feel the magic, and it just seems like something is preventing you from moving your Hunter's Mark over there in that direction.
That's good to know.
Something is resisting you.
All the same, I'll take another shot at him. I'm thinking that the 9 did not hit.
The 9 is not going to be enough, my friend.
It's all right. That was our targeting. That was our targeting shot. Come on, here we go.
Just finding a range.
19, more than enough, Dave, as you twang off another shot.
All right, he can suck on 8 points of damage.
He will suck on 8 points of damage. And did
The
you?
more
Yeah,
you
you
say it,
dropped
the
it on-
better it gets.
You dropped it on purpose. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I'm getting better. And I will just stay hidden. Waiting.
Dr. Hill, give me a perception check without you just give me a perception check. This is a casual one. This isn't you specifically looking for anything.
All right, casual, huh?
Yeah, I don't want to take the passive. That sucks because that's boring. Natural 20. Jesus. So when Roshi disappears out of your sight of view and all these rocks have been thrown out and around, you have a clear line of sight straight down past the horses to the figures standing behind, to the torchlight of the Harbinger, to the figure standing next to him. One appears to be a kind of familiar monk boy, you think? Little monk, certainly dressed like a keeper. But the figure next to him, the short, squatty figure, is one that unmistakable. Grindlebrew is sitting back behind the two horses alongside the Harbinger.
What the frack is Grindlebrew doing here?
Campus, what would you like to do, sir?
I should Grindlebrew. No. He probably don't know, or like he doesn't. If someone told him who that was, he wouldn't remember who Grindlebrew was. So he's just going to shoot Orc number 6 here. And he's like having a great time. He's like, look, I'm killing them all. Which is for a 20 for 11 points of damage on Orc number 6.
Okay, and so, yep, let me just kind of do this manually here.
No worries.
So same thing as you go to fire off your bow, but this time you realize that it's much closer, that it loses that silver streak through the dark air of the night, and so if the first one goes wide, but the second one finds its target.
Whew. I accidentally just clicked twice on that. The first.
I just gave you damage. So let me.
That totally works. That totally works.
Yeah, you're firing off at number 6. So yeah, as you fire off, it is more than a. And you can see the blood kind of spurting out as he drops as well.
Nice. Got him. Ha.
Roscoe.
So from where Roscoe is, he sees them throw a couple of bags of rocks. Now, he only has an 8 intelligence, but he knows how to count. He likes to keep count in a good battle. So how many rocks would you say, at a guess?
I would say somewhere along the lines of 70 in each bag, small stones. Maybe 60, maybe 5 dozen stones in each of these bags. And there were 2 bags. So there's 100 of them ish out there.
Okay.
It literally just looks like a bucket. Like if I just took a bucket of like those small pebbles that you see in the front of people's yards and throw that, that's exactly what it looked like.
Okay. Well, Roscoe thinks we had a good plan to bring him in, but that is starting to fall apart. That's a lot of open ground. He is going to
I gotta shoot him
shift
from here.
Yeah.
Defeated by rocks.
I don't have any ranged weapons. He's not that kind of barbarian. He's going to move through these trees and just try to find a good hiding spot. Like,
Go
just
grab
hiding.
the rocks and start throwing the rocks at him.
Well, that's what I was going to do, but there's like 70.
You're not going to run out for a while.
I take it metagame, you guys know what just happened?
Well, yeah. I mean, I figure that's just like a anti-magic whatever. But yeah, Roscoe is going to move further up into these trees and just try to get another hiding spot to get ready to pounce out once they get closer.
Give me a stealth check at disadvantage since they kind of know where you are.
Okay. Why aren't you working? There you go.
You feel like you're very hidden. Roscoe is like confident that nobody can see him, that he hasn't edged up to the edge of that torchlight at all. His skin is clearly blended in with the tree, and he's confident. He's like invisible like the wind. Huell, what would you like to do, sir?
Does Huell see Roscoe sneaking up through?
Yes.
All right, I've got enough movement on the broom of flying to zip over there, give Roscoe haste, and then that gives me 45, and then that would put me like, if I'm moving sort of like in a U and then back, we'll put Huell about right here.
As you kind of enter in down here, as you kind of move down, how high are you getting up on your broom?
Not very high at all, because I want to hug whatever cover might be available.
Okay.
So a foot.
What I just drew out there, you can consider the magical dead zone.
Okay.
So this is the point that
well, so as soon as he moves, his broom is going to fall, so he wouldn't have cast a spell even. So he's like right here, broom falls.
Right.
Okay.
That's exactly it. So that's kind of why I wanted to draw it. The second you move and you're like, cool, broom, fly, and then it just stops working.
Well, then Huell's going to pick it up and move back out of the once he sees it start working again, and then I think there might be. Well, ain't much I can do if they've got this kind of magic there, because you're gonna have to be on your own. We're gonna have to draw them out of this.
Is that the end of your turn?
Yeah, I mean, if there's he can't. They're all protected from his magic. He can't. I mean, I guess he can get those ones in the very back, but he doesn't have any spells that far, and he can't see in the dark. So he's actually going to fly up the cliff.
This is going to bring us. So you're going to try to go up and get some height.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to see if there's a ledge or something I can get some height on him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So you begin to climb. Let's say you climb 20 feet or so up, kind of that direction. So this is going to bring us over to the orcs. And now that the orcs have kind of thrown these buckets, everything begins to take shape with their plan, and they all burst into action. First off, we have these two orcs, which are going to, let me kind of zoom in here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And they are going to hurl out, they have aggressive, so they're going to come up and try to close in on Roscoe here. And Roscoe, unbeknownst to you, unrecognized to you, you thought you were very well hidden. And you see these orcs that have thrown the rocks. They kind of look up, and you see they make clear eye contact as you're kind of crouching down and into the tree. Here's what I'll do. I know you took the stealth action to hide.
Mhm.
However, you were also kind of waiting on them to get close enough.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let one orc go, and then I will let you take your turn, and then I'm going to let the other orc go.
Okay.
So one of the orcs is going to come up and try to, in essence, just smash you with this big old great axe. I have a whopping 12, which doesn't look like it's going to get there. If you want to go ahead and take your turn, now would be a good time to do so, sir.
Okay. Just one attack, yeah. And drop it on his head. That's 22 to hit.
That's good enough, sir.
And he takes 12 damage.
And this is against orc number 2. Okay, I see it's working here. Yeah.
There you go.
The other orc is going to immediately respond by trying to take a big wide swipe here into the tree where you kind of are. And let's see what this does. We've got a massive 18.
That hits.
And he's going to cut into you for 6 damage. You kind of see him. He gets a really solid, heavy swipe behind it. And fortunately enough for you, some of the branches kind of slow it down from being just a massive cleave of your leg, though you do have a pretty big gash. And as he pulls the axe away, the kind of branch, the lower branch kind of eye level with you, breaks off and you drop to the ground prone.
Okay.
Then we're going to have a couple more guys take actions here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he can double up his speed. He's going to move to about right there and throw a javelin. Again, at the closest target here, Roscoe 3 stone. He's going to go wide as he throws it right where you were, but you fall prone to the ground before, and I guess I should have been a disadvantage. You fall prone to the ground out of the tree. And now the Orc War Chief and the rest are going to take action. As the Orc War Chief and the Tanaruk get ready to charge in on their mounts, you see the light drop from the Harbinger, and the purple glow that was on his hilt as all these people are rushing up the hill. You see that purple light kind of vanish, and it almost looks like the Harbinger blends down into the ground, taking with him Grindlebrew and the remaining keeper, and they disappear from sight. And finally, we're going to have the Tanaruk and Orc War Chief charge up with their horses, who have a massive... I'm not going to move their horses the whole time. Let's just say that they're on their horses for now. We've got 5, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And they're going to charge up with their horses, clearly trying to stay in... Let's just delete the horse token. I don't want to deal with that right now. Clearly trying to stay within this zone here. And you can hear them hollering out and pointing, and they each begin to take wide swaths to surround Roscoe and head towards campus individually as they Berosunga Kina Foramakundara. And they're kind of hollering out, and you see the other orcs grunting and kind of nodding back as they're getting ready to engage. And that, my friends, is where we are going to wrap up for this evening.
Nice.
In the throes of combat.
Ooh,
Curses! I had them right where I wanted them.
Grindlebrew, final boss confirmed. I love it. Oh boy, oh boy. Well, my friends, that's what we're going to end tonight's episode of Save or Dice Harbinger. So next week we've got a special episode, and the week after that it is our season finale.
Indeed, it will be. So I will be in the beautiful country of Mexico next week. And instead of taking the week off, we have invited a special guest, Grant Ellis of Encounter Roleplay at certain times, amongst 1,000 other things that he does. He is going to be our guest DM next week. So I won't be here. Everybody else here will still be here for Grant. And I'm going to very much look forward to watching that game when I get back, because he's told me a little bit about it, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But the following week, on the 25th, is going to be our season finale for the show, for Harbinger, not for the show in total. And we've got some special announcements in that game here. Guys, you wanna bring that up now, or you wanna hold on to that for a couple more weeks?
I don't mind holding on to it.
Let's hold on to it for a couple more weeks. We've got some special announcements that we'll be making in that finale. So that's all the announcements. Dave, you wanna give some love out to the sponsors?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to thank
sponsors.
Dungeon Painter Studio for those awesome maps that we saw tonight, or awesome maps that we saw tonight, and throughout the whole entire series. Of course, our virtual tabletop of choice, Fantasy Grounds, as you see us playing on it. And we have our new sponsor in the house, Nord Games. I mean, not Nord Games, Norse Foundry. And there is a contest going on. I've been dropping the link throughout the show in the chat, so go check that out. Win some metal dice for your friends at your gaming table. There's also a link in the description, so you can go over there and take a look at all the cool stuff they've got, and that link gives you a 10% off. So thank you to our sponsors.
Yeah, awesome. 7 complete sets of metal dice for you and your entire gaming group is kind of it's kind of nuts. That's a pretty cool little giveaway that Norse Foundry is doing with us. So we're really pleased to be a part of that. But guys, you guys got anything before we bounce out of here?
I just want to congratulate the England football team again for all their victory at the World Cup.
The fuck out of here.
Congrats.
We earned it.
Oh, I do got one announcement that I want to make real quick. On the 24th, on my channel, Taking 20 YouTube channel, we're going to be doing the world premiere live event of the new Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory. And while it won't have all the cast members here from Saber Dice, Dave from Nerdarchy will be in that game, as well as Ben Scott from Puffin Forest and Guy Slanders from How to Be a Great GM. So, and we got the game lead designer for that, so to come in and GM for us. So please come check that out. When I got back from Mexico, we're gonna try to have some Warhammer 40k fun.
I know nothing about the setting. I'm just going to scream heresy the whole time.
That's half the battle, man.
That's how it's done.
the book is 452 pages, Dave, and the first 3 chapters are lore.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, if it's not human, you're pretty safe if you just shoot it.
Nice.
Right.
See what saying goes. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here, and we'll see you guys next week with Grant here on Saber Dice, and the week after that for the Harbinger finale. Oh boy, can't wait to die to Grindlebrew again. Bye.
Stay nerdy.
There it is.
There it is.